use this opportunity to improve, to become a much better speaker going forward. So this is how it is going to be run. And without further ado, let me introduce the MC for tonight. And the MC is Ping Hendra, which is myself. Yay! Thank you all for coming. Hello, I'm the MC. And for today, we have a great one because right now it's January and February. It's where all the contests are happening in Toastmasters. All the speech contests are happening. Everybody suddenly become competitive and become extremely secretive, not sharing any information, not sharing any tips and tactics or techniques on how to win a speech contest. However, our current one, the next speaker, she will share everything. So for those of you that are currently going to participate in a speech contest, listen up. For those of you that are wondering what Toastmasters is all about, what is speech contest, all this, stay tuned. Okay? And thank you so much for coming as well. I would like to call upon our three-time champion, Benny Chia, who's in the audience. He won 3 times in the past, 2 weeks? That's incredible. And it's amazing that even though he has won 3 times in 2 weeks, he's still here, always learning, always improving. And this is something that all of us here want to strive towards, always learning and always improving. So let's call upon our speaker, and I would like to introduce our speaker. Okay, and our speaker is really, really amazing today. I can't wait really to learn from her. Who is she? She really enjoys speech contests, but she knows that the work behind every contest can be extremely, extremely overwhelming. She started with her first humorous icebreaker speech, One Person, One Me, which she took up to the division level in 2009. And then with her international speech, Mother on a Mission, which she competed up to district level in 2019. So 11 years journey. In her talk, she will focus on her 2019 journey as she prepared to present at the different levels from Brunei to Miri to Medan. Let's call upon our first speaker of the night, Sophiana Chua. The screen is yours.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, good day to everybody. So my speech today is on prepare to present a contest journey. A little bit about my highlights of my Toastmasters journey so far. As mentioned by Ping Hendra, I competed in 2009, One Person, One Me at the humorous speech contest at division level. And this was about how I transformed from, say, an ugly duckling to someone finding self-worth and be comfortable within oneself. 11 years later, in 2019, I competed at the international speech contest at the district level, Mother on a Mission, where as a mother, I had the role to play 3 missions. First, to find a wife for my son, to entice them into getting married, and to lure them into parenthood. And this is what we have from, say, the key message here was from the helicopter mom hovering over their children to letting my children lead their own lives in their own time. What my mentors and coaches taught me was that when crafting a speech, you decide on the intent and the key message. The intent being purpose, whether it's humorous or informative. You build material around it to support your key message. And when choosing material, you decide what is a must, should, or nice to have. So if I follow all the words of my mentors or coaches, in theory, my contest journey would be incremental, from not so good to becoming better and to becoming the best. But in reality, this was my journey. There was a lot of toing and froing, digression, progression, and so on. But one thing I noticed was that throughout my contest journey, the structure was very similar. I had 3 things to do: to prepare, to practice, and to present, whether it be at club level, area, division, district, or beyond. I'll start off with my journey at the club level. This would be Brunei Speakers Club, and in Brunei, there are 4 clubs. So at Brunei Speakers Club, in my preparation, it started off as a table topic. My topic on Mother on Mission started as a table topic. I remember presenting this as a table topic, and I was talking about visualizing my future daughter-in-law and my son at their wedding, and my future daughter-in-law comes from Inner Mongolia. So she had shown me some pictures of her family, cousins' weddings, trudging through snow in very bright traditional costumes on horseback. And so that picture captivated me so much that I went on this mission to start to say, look, would you want to get married? Would you want to have children? And would you like to have to go on? Yeah. And so I decided on the key message that it would be a helicopter mom hovering over their children, but finally realizing that I had to let my children lead their own lives in their own time. And I had to decide on the intent, whether I wanted it to be informative. I decided that it would be informative with elements of humor. To build the material, I started to gather real stories, anecdotes, and kept it in a journal. At this point in time, I felt that they had to be real stories, because in my past experience when delivering a speech, whenever a story is not real, the audience will feel it. So I had to make sure I collected real stories. And I also found that the value of learning spaces, be it in terms of people or in terms of spaces, I found that I could learn anything, anywhere, whether it be from a little child or an adult, whether it be from my mentors or from a fellow Toastmasters, whether it be from friends and families, and from any place. And all these gave me ideas and tips, which I continued to fill my journal. A very important tip, I believe, is that we had to know our audience and fellow contestants. Who are you delivering this speech to? The other point that I made was that I had to find out what kind of style is the way you deliver your speech. Whether you go by a script, where you memorize your lines, word by word, or you have just points, and you go with points. Let me show you what I mean. By script or points, if I'm practicing from a script, I'm a very script person myself. So if I practice from my script, I know it'll be very precise. I know exactly the points where my punchlines would come in and the reactions I would get from the audience. It's all timed accordingly. But the danger is that if you practice this way, you can sound quite robot-like, sort of like in a pilot mode. And because of this, there's a danger of you not sounding very natural. That's a way to overcome that. And the other one is you can forget your lines because you go by script. It's happened to me. So there was a domino effect. I forget one line and it happens probably in the 10th line, 11th line, and so on. Now with points, if you're a points person, there's no line to remember. Yeah, you only remember points. You may sound more natural, but the danger is that you may go over time because you wouldn't know exactly the points where your punchlines come in, or you can anticipate the audience reactions at a certain time. So those are the points, those are the difference I found with scripts or points person. Back to the preparation part, I also noticed that when you start writing, you can write everything. By the end of the day, when you start having your final draft or close to your final draft, every word or phrase has to earn its place in your speech. So any word or phrase that do not carry any value has to be omitted. And again, feedback from your coach. Show your coach your first draft, and you'll be surprised there'll be so many iterations after that, where you add stories, remove stories, add punchlines, remove punchlines, and so on. Then it comes to the preparation. After preparation, it comes to the practice time. With practice, it's the final version, not the drafts. You can have draft after draft, but practice only on the final version which you're happy with. And instead of practicing the whole speech from paragraph 1 to the end, you practice in parts. Test yourself out on para 4. Test yourself out on para 5. Have trigger words that can start off your practicing. So it'll be more random rather than systematically going through your whole speech. And again,
Okay.
Anywhere, anytime.
Ooh.
Very conscious of your verbal and non-verbal communications.
Good job.
Get feedback from friends and families, and your coach in terms of they'll more likely give you feedback at all times. But the important thing is that it is your call to decide what to take in and what to apply. So with that, presentation happens, the international speech at club level, Brunei Speakers Club. And I got second place. Again, with second place, the same thing applies again. Prepare, practice, and present. At this time, I needed to take a short break. I couldn't go straight into the drawing board and start working on it. I needed to have a fresh start to it. Now, the audience again would be different. Your fellow contestants would be different at area level because this would be all the 4 clubs in Brunei, in my case. And you have to decide whether you're going to use the same speech or you're going to come up with a new speech. In my case, I used the same speech throughout, from club level all the way up to district level. And also, it's just in case, start thinking of your second speech for the finals at World Stage. Because in my case, or in many cases, writing speeches do not come easy. And that's the time when you start thinking, if not earlier, to start thinking of your second speech. The feedback from coach, fellow Toastmasters and friends, and again, the reactions of the audience would be very important. From the reactions of the audience from the speech that you're given at club level, try and observe which part gave you the reaction that you expected and which parts didn't. The parts that didn't give you the reaction you wanted, which is probably a very lukewarm reaction, remove that. Again, it's your call. What to apply, what to keep, and what to delete. And at this point, it's also very important to know your style. Whether you want to paint the scenario or whether you want to have the key message up front. Let me give you an example. With key message up front, my coach advised me to have the message first. So I started saying, like, do you have people you love? People you love so much that you wanted only the best for them. I do. Or I painted the scenario. It was a cool summer evening. My husband and I were relaxing after dinner when the phone rang to a familiar tune. Again, it is your call. I decided to take on the advice of my coach and decided to have the key message up front. Having drafts after drafts, talking to my coach over the phone, meeting in person, and so on, I came up with many, many drafts. Drafts number 21, number 22. Then I got a little bit self-conscious and I started naming my drafts 22A, 22B, and so on. So it wouldn't be so obvious that I was having too many drafts. But my coach knew me better. Again, practice the final version, not the drafts. Practice in parts, not necessarily the whole speech. At random spots, not necessarily from top to bottom. And anytime, anywhere, again, recordings if you want to, audio recordings, video recordings, and watch with a very critical eye, as if it was not you talking or presenting. Again, get feedback from your coach and others. With that, I presented at the international speech contest at area level. And I got second place. Now you know that if someone wins at area level, second place at area level, we don't get to present at division level. But in this case, I was lucky because that year we had a change of division from division K to division E, consisting of Miri, Bintulu, and Brunei, and I got to compete, even as runner-up. So back to the drawing board again, get to know your audience and your fellow contestants at division level this time. And at that point, I had a change of coach. Because this coach, my coach, Alan Ang, he had the experience of competing at the international speech at the division level. And he had a few suggestions. One was that, no, don't have your key message up front. Paint your scenario first. So again, instead of saying, instead I had, it was a cool summer evening. My husband and I were relaxing after dinner when the phone rang to a familiar tune. So I painted the scenario. And he also mentioned that I should change my delivery style. With my previous coach, she suggested that I became more animated. But deep down, I knew it was not my style.
Exactly.
Alan sort of spotted that, and he observed that, and he said, I think you should develop a more poised stand and deliver your speech accordingly. Again, it was my call, whether I wanted to do that or not. I decided to go for a more poised presentation. Again, drafts after drafts, redrafts, and so on. And when it hit number 40, I decided to stop counting. But the meetings, physical or online, with my coach continued. Practice again, anywhere, anytime. Get as much feedback as you can from coaches, your mentors, and other people. And with that, I presented my international speech contest at the division level. And with that, I got first place. Take a short break again. Once you know you've competed and you've gotten a place to compete beyond division now. The preparation took place in terms of knowing my audience and fellow contestants, this time at the District 87 level. I decided to keep to the same speech, but I decided to minimize my changes. I decided not to practice too much in case of running towards being over-practicing and sounding more robot-like. But when I practiced, it was again practice at random places, practice at random spots in your speech. Alan as well gave me a very important tip. He said that, did you realize that your speech at division level was clocked at 6 minutes, 30 seconds? And you had that 1 minute to optimize your impact. With a lot of pauses, with more pauses, or even with change of phrases and so on. I took his advice and we managed to get it clocked at 7 minutes, 20 seconds. At the venue, he also advised me, when you're presenting at the venue at district level in Medan, make sure you use the stage, walk up and down. At that time, the audience were in other rooms, and I took the chance to walk up and down just to get a feel of it. He also advised me to go around and say hello to people. Get them to know you, or at least recognize your face. The last tips from the coach, which I thought was very useful in terms of maximizing space on stage, was in two places. At one point, when I had to look for potential daughters-in-law in the crowd, he advised me, go to the end of the stage and look at the prettiest girl you can and say, she is pretty. Look at her in the eye. Then go to the center of the stage, look at another girl in the stage, in the eye, and say, she is smart. Then walk to the very other end of the stage and look for a Toastmaster and say, ooh, she's a Toastmaster, just like me. So I did that. And at the end of the contest, the girl who said she was pretty, that I said she is pretty, she actually came up to me and said, oh, I'm so glad you said I'm pretty. So in that case, I felt that there was contact there. The eye contact really helped. Another tip from the coach was that I had this word in my speech where I was getting advice from my father to ask him whether the person I was going to get married to was the right person for me. My father didn't say yes. He didn't say no. He just said, I'm happy if you're happy. So Alan advised me, when you have to say this phrase, look for a father figure in the audience. I managed to find one, plunk on in the middle. And with that, I looked at him in the eye and said, I'm happy if you're happy. So presented this at international speech contest at district level, and I got first place. It doesn't stop there, because now you start thinking about preparing for quarterfinals. But then again, this time, for the first time, the quarterfinals were held at online as a video. So we didn't get to go to the world stage straight away. Or at least they would have chosen us at the quarterfinals. But with no time wasted, I started looking at the different audience and the different cultures. Because you're going to the world stage, would your speech have some cultural elements which would have which your audience would probably can't relate to? Because here, if you remember, my speech was about a helicopter mum hovering over their children. At the same time, if I'm to bring this to an international stage or to the world stage, the audience could be people who let their children go at 18, who leave homes at 18. So again, I have to be culturally sensitive. Whether this will lead to a change of speech would probably be the case. Again, I got tips from Toastmasters that made it to world stage. I talked to different people who I've met online and offline who have helped me, with some of the tips. Do consider whether you need to change your coach. Maybe you need one that has actually made it to world stage. And that second speech will come in handy if you do get to the final stage, to the finals. So it has to be prepared, if not finalized. And with that, I waited for the quarterfinal results, but I didn't get through. But the journey alone was useful. So in summary, never underestimate the value of learning spaces, be it in terms of people or places. You can learn from anybody at any time and anywhere. And learn your style. Do get to know your style. Whether you're a script person or you're a points person. In my case, I'm a script person. And whether you want to paint your scenario first, or to have your key message up front when you're delivering. And whether you want to take a more poised position or an animated style. More importantly, listen. Listen to the feedback that you get from your coaches and everyone, and you apply. But it is your call to decide what you would like to apply and what you would not. Remember, every word counts. It has to earn a place in your speech. Prepare and prepare. Practice anytime and anywhere. Practice your final version, not your drafts. Practice in parts, not necessarily the whole speech. Because when you prepare, it will probably take about 200 times. When you practice, probably 100 times. But when you present, you get to present just one time. So give it your best shot, the hardest punch. Because you must enjoy the moment. It is a privilege to be on stage, not something we take for granted that we can come in anytime, year after year. It was indeed an honor and privilege for me. Lastly, just go for it. Thank you.
Wow, can everyone please give her a round of applause? Yes, unmute yourself and give her a round of applause. That's amazing. 11 years journey. Prepare and prepare and present and prepare and present many times just so that she can improve one little things and make it better and better. And she did it at the end of the day. So it's really inspirational for all of us here that whatever that we're doing in life, not just for speeches, but for your career at the same time, please prepare and always be better and better so that when it's time for you to perform and you want to show it in front of your boss or everyone else, you can get it done and it'll be perfect. So thank you so much for the message, Sophiana. Really appreciate you. Great. Now we would like to have and invite our evaluators to give Sophiana her evaluations. Okay. So the first evaluator, I would like to call upon DTM Sangeeta.
Thank you, Pink. I'm having some internet issues. Am I audible first?
Yes, you are.
There's no lag, right?
Nope, you are perfect.
All right. Thank you so much. And can I know who the timer is? Okay.
It's me, Andre. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. Timer ready? Thank you, Sophiana. I mean, I know it has taken 11 years, but I think it was a journey worth waiting for. And it was so wonderful to hear your 11 years of, Toastmastering and speech journey in just about 20 minutes. And yes, your poise is something that struck me right from the beginning. And you were very right to choose that as your style of speaking, because it is you. I can't imagine you doing an animated version of the same speech because it wouldn't sound like you. So that was really well done. Now, for me, the key highlights in your speech was the way you organized it. You put it into 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and present. And you walked us through every stage of your journey in the same order. So that was really very well done. Your PPT was extremely informative. You had humor in spurts here and there, which added that light touch to your speech, especially when you talked about your, future daughter-in-law coming on a horse. And, it created a nice picture and a little bit of humor there. And what I really love, my key takeaway was whether it was script versus points, whether it's poised versus animated, whether you paint a scenario or keep the key message up front. I think that was my key takeaway from your speech. So that was a very beautiful message. Now, and also you took time to sum it up in the end so that you have both the primacy and a recency effect in your speech. So kudos to you. These were all the key highlights that I took away from your speech. Now, coming to where it could have been made better and the areas of improvement is you started with the PPT up front. So I spent more time reading through the PPT rather than actually listening to you. So I would really appreciate if you could make a point without a PowerPoint and then use the PowerPoint just to supplement what you're saying, because the spotlight was more on the PPT rather than you. Now, I can give you a suggestion for this. Most of your points across your PPT was common, like in the prepare, whether it was the first time or the second time, there were a lot of common things. So instead of using words to write, you can use a Venn diagram. You can put the common points in between, and then you can use the Venn diagram to show how you did things differently at every level. So that would be easier to interpret rather than going through slides all the time, and keep it as your background and focus on the speech yourself. That would be really great. And the second thing, since we had a common audience where both Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters are attending, maybe a small introduction into what contests are at Toastmasters could have helped a person who's attending your session for the first time understand what you're saying better, instead of directly jumping into club levels. So that would have made a point. And the last thing was, you told me that the final contest that you attended, you didn't cross through that was an online event. Maybe you could have told us how it is different to prepare for something face-to-face and something online, because both aren't same. So, and we are having online now. So apart from that, I really loved what you said. Thank you so much, Sophiana. And over to the Tia Mori. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DTM Sangeeta. That is incredible evaluation. And I have to agree as well when you said that it's a little bit wordy here and there during the PowerPoint, because Zoom is weird in a way that you can't do it to have both of you at the same time. So I was more focused on looking at you rather than looking at the PowerPoint slides rather than looking at you. Alicia did something amazing earlier, which we will ask her to teach us how to do it so that we can all improve just like her. Thank you so much, DTM Sangeeta. Now let's call upon our second evaluator of the night, and she is Dwi Indah Wahyuni.
Yeah, I'm here, Ping.
Yes, Ma'am Indah, the screen is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sophiana, congratulations. You did very good speech for 20 minutes. I didn't move at all with my notes, and also my eye kept on looking at the presentation, also your PowerPoint. The first thing that I would like to highlight here is the beautiful title. You are using alliteration method, and this is really beautiful. Prepare, practice, and present. Triple P. That's we call it alliteration in public speaking theory. And I think this is really mysterious and interesting to understand. And next is, I also want to underline about the idea to talk about the whole presentation is about your journey in your Toastmaster itself. You focus on the contest, Sophiana, and that's true. Here, attending the event, not only me and all the Toastmasters, but also non-Toastmasters are here. So I think it is really needed for you to emphasize to the audience what is exactly the contest for. So the contest is not only seeking for championship, right? But it is about how to explore and improve and telling and sharing and giving the inspiring values to all of the people or the audiences. And starting from the club to the area to the division and finally to district, some Toastmasters or non-Toastmasters, they really got inspiration from the journey. And the slide also very useful to describe about how exactly the journey of your Toastmasters began. But then I prefer to focus on you as the speaker because I think your PowerPoint is too crowded. Yeah, and the notes, I mean, the writing is too crowded. So I focus on the way how you try to make it the explanation in a very small letters. So I think have better for you to make the focus on you as a speaker, not to focus on the notes. Okay. And I think you really deserve to get that championship because you are so passionate and committed. I feel the eagerness of you as a speaker. So very best luck for the next journey of your Toastmaster Championship. Good luck, Sophiana. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mom Indah. Really appreciate your evaluation. It was really calming for some reason. It just makes me want to take a look and like, wow, I really like the way you do your evaluations. Really nice. And your smile is contagious in a way. I just can't stop smiling. Thank you so much, Mom Indah. I would like to call upon our third evaluator for the night. She is DTM Xiu Qian. DTM Xiu Qian, the screen is yours.
Thank you, President Ping. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters. Dear Sophiana, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be able to evaluate you. I'm going to evaluate you from my perspective as a person that I'm receiving tips from you and how I will gain from you. To me is when I first look at your flyer, practice once, 100 times, 200 times rehearse. I was wondering, what is that message all about? Then you started off, you are actually a strategic speaker, and you are a very detailed person, and you are very honest and spoke from the heart. It's just that you really want to share your tips and ensure that person who is going to be like you as a champion speaker will really take the tips. You have shared everything and what you have from the bag of tips that you have, and you have acquired from all the coaches, whoever you can think is valuable, you shared it with us. I really benefited from you. And what I like about it just that you displayed the tips by having a voice that is clear and smooth that I could hear. And that's really great. And then you started off the introduction, the body, and you ended with practice once, 100 times, and 200 times the draft. So then I really understand what you meant by it. So it was actually complete. I understand what you meant and how to prepare to become a champion. But on the other hand, I like you to consider certain tips which I felt that you would excel even better. First and foremost is about, you see, one of the things I brought about the eye contact. Maybe you can consider of art of pausing, because you are trying to dig from, you're saying that if you're on the stage and you look for eye contact, then probably because you have the notes at one side, and then you're speaking. Then if you say that now, maybe you'll do a bit of vocal writing. Now for eye contact, probably you see from one side, and then you're trying to catch, and then your eye contact. You have one vocal writing, and the audience will know, oh, she's doing something different topic. Then at least it will help. And then another one is also another very catchy one about the fatherly figure. Then you say, then from that also you have to have a gap, to maybe the art of pausing comes in, and then from that you do a bit of vocal writing. Then the audience will know that, oh, this is another tip that you're going to share with us. So all in all, you really, really share with all of us. I really benefited. Only thing just that, and then another one is about your streak on the board there, right? When you are presenting, like you have 3: practice and prepare, practice. Probably maybe what you can do is when you are going to speak about practice, just put the practice first, and then shorten it up a bit, And then when you want to prepare, when you want to do about prepare, then you just display the prepare. Then the audience will really benefit from you. I really benefited from what you are trying to share with us. And I really look forward to your presentation again. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, DTM Siu Chen. That's always good to give a very, very nice and thorough evaluation so that the speaker can improve and her presentation will be much better going forward. Thank you so much for sharing that. And now let's do a very beautiful photo session together. And I would like to call upon our VPE, Julius, to lead the photo session.
Everyone, please show your video.
I will take the pictures. Please turn on your video and show us your handsome and beautiful face. There will be 2 photos because I have 2 screens. Now, let me take the first screen. Ready? Give us your beautiful pose. 1, 2, 3. First video. Wait for me. Be patient, please. Second screen. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. Back to you, President.
Thank you so much, Julius. And with that, I would like to announce that our next center stage will happen on the 11th of February 2021. It's on a Thursday, same time. And the next speaker, he will share a lot about goal settings and how to set goals the right way. And that speaker is myself. Wow, you guys must be thinking, wow, who is this guy? You guys will be, I'm sure all of you are like, who is this person? He's the MC, he is this, he is that. He is like hogging on the mic. Well, actually, it's because we have a list. This is the list. We go by the person who registered to us from the 1st all the way to the 24th. And so happened that I am person number 2. This is the proof. My name is there on number 2. So here, number 2.
Well, maybe you need to explain what is that list.
Yes. So this list is for the person who joined us. So if
join
the person
club.
Join T&C Advanced Toastmasters Club from member number 1 all the way to member number 4. Actually, member number 1 is Toastmasters Miranda. However, she just had her first speech earlier today, so she decided to switch place with Sophiana. So this is the full list. And so happened that I'm the second one. I promise you that starting next week, 2 weeks later, you will not hear me a lot anymore. Okay. So it's very democratic process. So it's not me hogging on the mic all the way. With that, I would like to announce as well that this will be on YouTube and it'll be on Facebook as well. So join us, join our YouTube channel and join our Facebook group of the same name, Trainers and Coaches Online Toastmasters Club, so that you don't miss future ones. And by the way, if you come for next week, in 2 weeks, our next session for the center stage, you will get this, the ultimate guide to creating the future you desire. I created this specifically just for all of you, where you will have understanding yourself, understanding the why, and understanding the how you set your goals. And you can only get this exclusively for this meeting in 2 weeks' time. So if you would like to join us, please register as soon as possible because this will run out. So with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming to our very first meeting. Really, really appreciate all of you. And we will be sending you a feedback and evaluation form later so that you can give us improvements and suggestions and advice on how to make this better so that we can serve you better. So with that, I would like to close this meeting and thank you everybody for spending your Thursday night with us. Thank you very much. A great one. See you in 2 weeks' time. Same time.
Thank you, Ping.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Ping really lead us by example.
Yeah.
The
Sorry
first
for the
meeting.
rush. Everybody, sorry for the rush because this
Yeah.